it's now going to be a question that we ask ourselves each time that we request a new hire. Is this something that we can be taking to people partners? Is there an offshore opportunity for this role? LTT is Australia's leading provider of pathology collection and laboratory operations training in Australia. We've got training operations and funding contracts, government funding contracts in every state and territory in Australia. And I think we're certainly the only ones in our field that can boast having that, but also I think one of very, very few RTOs that have funding contracts in every state and territory. So we're very proud of that. We kicked off in 2006, operating for, 20 years or so. So we've taken a while, but we've become very good at what we do. I look after the national industry engagement around the country. I'm based in Brisbane, but I've got colleagues who operate in New South Wales, Victoria, Perth as well. While we run training in our campuses, probably 75% of our business is actually in workplace training, and that's where the industry engagement team come in, because we're working with those workplace clients and we're looking at the needs of particularly, obviously, pathology and those laboratory industries. We're looking at the needs of those clients to see where we can help them with skills need deficits, and we look at the various programs, we look at the various funding that's available, both from state and federal perspectives, and we try and put a picture together for those clients so that we can try and make sure that we can provide them training, but something that's done, in an affordable nature as well. Training, as we all know, is extremely expensive and it doesn't come cheap. We ourselves have, large outlays in paying for the expertise that we bring in from a training perspective, and our trainers come with PhDs, masters, higher education degrees across their various disciplines, and it comes at a cost. So, we do appreciate, the support that both the state and federal governments give in this particular sector. And we acknowledge that there's a skills deficit right across Australia in this sector. So there's some nice supports available, and my team are the ones who come in and look at all of those supports that are available and piece it together for the client to say, look, we can fill that skills need for you, and this is how much it's going to cost, and this is what we're going to get you back from the government. So we're expert, I guess, in that. Look, our business goals is to be, the number one provider of pathology collection laboratory operations in Australia. But it doesn't kind of necessarily end with Australia. It's also, looking at opportunities that exist in a transnational kind of basis as well. Offshoring for us wasn't probably a reason to look at that transnational agenda. It's probably something that is now on the radar for us that probably wasn't there before. We have a lot of tasks and a lot of roles within our business that are filled by, resident Australians. And we found that, while we were able to get people into those roles, the turnover was reasonably high as they went on to move on to, to other areas. So there's often a knowledge drain as we'd train people up and then they'd leave. We saw Anthony, People Partners, and we saw you at various booths, and particularly around iTecha and at various conferences. And I think the voice and your brand of People Partners started to come through more and more over the last kind of 12 to 18 months. And we started to look at it seriously at our strategic meetings and thought, well, let's look at offshoring. We have a lot of roles within our business that doesn't necessarily need to have one sitting right beside us, in one of our offices. And so we checked in with you to find out, well, what do you do? And we're pleasantly surprised, I think, at the level of capability, not just from the people that you're recruiting or the People Partners staff, but probably some of the structural stuff that you had going on in the background. I think we were pleasantly surprised at the structure that you'd built there. And that probably gave us a bit of confidence in going, okay, we can take a step into this offshoring. And we know that at your end, you kind of got it covered. So we dipped our toe in the water, and I guess we're just starting to splash around a little bit more now that we've been there 6, 7, 8 months, since our first recruit. So everything's going well.
For LTT, it's been one of those longer term goals to investigate offshoring, but it's always been a reason to defer it previously. There's risks, I guess, or perceived risks with offshoring. I think we were reluctant to put on our plate while we were, busy doing other things, but then taking a step back, thinking, look, this seems to be working elsewhere, where obviously, as we mentioned before, having some trouble getting our staffing right, getting that retention piece, with the unemployment rate in Australia being, very low, being able to get the people we wanted and support the existing team we had better without adding extra costs for our clients was important. And I think that's where it really reached a point where we said, look, I think if we can manage the risk by using, a partner, people partners, that have that established reputation, we can trial it. We didn't have to go holus bolus at the start, although I'm sure that would have been nice. I think we did want to test the waters a little bit, and we were pleasantly surprised. The systems and particularly the support that came, and I think probably the key message I was getting back from the team as we implemented was nothing was too difficult. If there are issues, which there will be with anything to do with people, they were addressed quickly and efficiently, and that was probably gave us the additional confidence we wanted to start trialling different roles and look at how we could really enhance offering without, I guess, massively changing our structure within Australia by, I guess, adding the extra support offshoring. Yeah, I think discovering people partners was probably through the sponsorship of the industry representative organisation, ITECA. As long-term sponsors there, I came into contact through my position on the board, and obviously bumping into the team at various conferences. We finally got a chance to have a discussion, and from there it was very, very quick to jump on a call and then see what opportunities there were. Once we made the decision it was something we were interested in, that it was quick to identify people partners. And probably the thing that attracted us is one of the concerns that we had internally about offshoring was the perception that we were going to be paying, very, very low rates to people and effectively taking advantage of offshore workers. And that was something we were very careful to put up front with our team, that we didn't want to go down that path. And pleasingly with people partners, it was a very transparent costing model, and the confirmation that we would be paying at the higher end of the local salaries was attractive to us, to make sure not only did we get the better candidates, but we weren't taking advantage of I guess a hole in the market and the fact that we could attract people, and we probably could have paid less over time, but we wouldn't have been as comfortable with the solution. I think that's what was attractive with the transparency of the pricing model that people partners offered and the reputation that you'd built over time. I think initially we were probably looking at directly administrative assistant roles where there was maintaining registers, spreadsheets, being efficient about processing data. We're a very data heavy, I guess, sector and company. And we wanted to make sure that we had people that could take some of that load off our local teams and, add a lot of value and be able to focus on, I guess, maintaining, multiple different registers, flows of data with the industry engagement team, making sure that we're getting accurate information back to clients as soon as possible to make sure that, because, training is a, I guess, significant, high involvement decision for the clients. And if you can make it seamless and make sure that you take care of the clients from the very first point of contact onwards, you can really address a lot of their concerns up front.
Probably taking what was quite a large administrative burden off a team that we really needed to be mobile. So the industry engagement team, the core role is to be engaging with our clients, and we want them, to be in front of those clients as much as possible. Because there's a heavy administration around, enrollments, traineeships, and the building of those relationships. It's very difficult for an industry engagement or a business development person to be able to do both efficiently. So we found that our industry engagement people were being probably tied down to a lot of the administration, and being able to engage or being able to kind of offshore some of the administrative roles has enabled them to be unshackled somewhat and be in a position to be be able to go out and see clients and be on the front foot in getting in front of clients, which is, really what the role is all about. The other component of, any business and certainly with us from an enrolment perspective is reducing the time it takes to enroll a particular candidate. There might be 20 odd pieces of data or work that needs to go into any enrolment, and that process can take a long time. So, effectively looking at ways to be able to reduce that enrolment timeline, so that as soon as our client makes a decision that they'd like to engage in training, we're able to actually kick them off in that training as soon as possible, rather than, a prolonged kind of enrolment period, which I think it probably was. I think the start has been excellent. We've been able to see the capability, and even through the interview process, when we're looking at candidates that are being put forward for particular roles, we can see the caliber of the people that you're able to get access to and be able to provide for us. I've been party to predominantly administrative roles. I think as a business, the majority of the roles that we're looking at are kind of heavy kind of administrative roles. And we see that there's capability right across those areas. I would suggest that as we go through our recruitment processes internally, that it's now going to be a question that we ask ourselves each time that we request a new hire. And that is, is this something that we can be taking to people partners? Is there an offshore opportunity for this role? And we'd be looking at the reasons why not, as opposed to the reasons why. In terms of specific roles, probably nothing specific at this stage. And certainly in my team, I can't think of anything specifically that I would need in the industry engagement side. The team that is structured around me right now I see as complete for the stage of the process that we're at, and the service that the 3 people partners candidates that we currently have are providing is excellent. They're learning like the rest of us as part of the team, and what I do see is that the more work we put into them, the better the results. But they're all committed. They're very, very friendly. We welcome them as part of the team, and hopefully they certainly feel a part of that team as well. Certainly our onshore Australian colleagues, have welcomed them with open arms, and so we respect them as part of the team. Given that we're a national organisation split across the whole country anyway, a lot of the work that we do is via this kind of interactivity. So whether they're in the Philippines, Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne, Tassie, we're all engaging in the same way. I think the level of support that People Partners has been providing, I think, is becoming less and less surprising as we hear about things like the Christmas party. So we got a sense when we started engaging with People Partners that there was some nice structure there. We heard about, the service provision, so to speak. But as we started to engage with our own people and the people that we employed, and listening to their stories and listening to the communication and the contact that they're having with, the People Partners head office, you start to get a sense of the support that they're getting at that end. And I think the cherry on top was really looking at the photos and the videos of the Christmas party, but even just welcoming them back to work after the Christmas party and having them tell their own stories, and them sending us their own photos and things like that, gave us a real sense. There was a real buzz around the place, and you could tell they got a real kick out of it. And for us, that's important. We all want to support our people. Sometimes, the resources, and usually time resources that we have at our disposal, makes it difficult to do that. So the fact that we know that that's happening at the Philippine end it's reassuring, and it means that we've got some assurance that we're not on our own when we're looking at supporting these guys.
The pastoral support that's available for the team, it was great from our perspective to be able to add into what was already on offer, the Christmas party, for example, and be able to include our team members with hampers the same as what our local teams got. And People Partners jumped on that. We're very happy to assist and make sure that everyone got their care packages from Australia, which they were, it was just another way to make sure they were included as part of our team. And I think the support we got, again, nothing was too difficult. It happened almost immediately. So that was fantastic. I think regarding other areas that we're working with people partners in, obviously we're working very initially, and that was our first, I guess, cab off the rank was with our industry engagement team. But since then, we've already expanded to other departments within LTT. Our administrative teams from an enrolment perspective, our campus-based enrolment teams have started adding on support members, and a product development team have got an LMS administrator who's just kicked off. Marketing team have got a marketing officer that's already picking up with some of our socials. So we are due to the satisfaction with our initial engagements, expanding where we're looking for offshore support, and that's rolling out across different areas of the business. I mean, I could see probably other departments as opportunities come up and as support. At the time we've only grown our Australian staff at the same time, so it's not about reducing our numbers in Australia, it's about enhancing the effectiveness of them, and that's really where we're finding a lot of value. So as we grow, getting that extra support from people partners, probably across a whole lot of departments, and probably not just within the administrative areas, as we start to look at the skill sets that are on offer from what is a much larger pool of potential employees. I'd say that we, as we probably mentioned before, we were initially nervous about stepping into the offshoring area, and we're probably late to the party as far as a lot of businesses go. We've been very pleasantly surprised, and I think the longevity of people partners shows that it is a sustainable model. And that's what we're at LTT keen to work with. That's our business, is to become long-term partners of our clients, and I think our people partners have exactly the same philosophy. So I think been very happy with the support. Feedback from my HR team is that the HR support team from people partners are very efficient and great at jumping on things or dealing with any issues as they come up quite quickly, and that's been a real encouragement to get that positive feedback from my managers that they're having a good experience. It's not something that's being forced on them, although there was, I guess, initial nervousness from my management team as well. I think the proof is starting to really show, and that's getting the active engagement where people are coming to me asking if they can investigate an offshore role, and that's really pleasing.
I think Simon summed that up pretty well. I've been extremely happy with the ease of working with people partners. Right from the get-go, everything seemed to be very efficient, very simple, easy to follow, and when I was expecting things to break down, they didn't. There was always a professional edge to everything that came through. So that should be celebrated, because I think you've done a great job to provide that kind of service. When it came to recruitment, I was surprised at the quality of the candidates. I was surprised at how quickly they came to us, and then I was pleasantly surprised when I had the opportunity to meet them, before making a decision around recruitment. So it was not only has been a very simple and easy process, and it's also been very surprising at the quality of the personnel that have come through, and 6, 7, 8 months into their respective roles, they're all thriving and doing really, really well and contributing to our team. So yeah, we couldn't be happier.